And now we have a special time where we have a guest speaker. Sarada Chiruvolu, did I say that right? Okay, great. She left a pharmaceutical career to pursue a spiritual calling. And she set out on a unique journey that has taken her towards a chaining realization of the self, or enlightenment, through many years of deep meditation. And so she's here to share her story and to also offer us the opportunity to learn the benefits and the signpost along the path of deep meditation. She's going to be also offering a workshop after the service. We will have a light lunch downstairs, and then the workshop will be from 12:30 to 2:30. She has a book that's for sale out in the lobby, Home at Last. And this gives more details on what she's going to be talking about and has a lot of really great information that she won't have time to share in just the talk or today at the workshop. So feel free to purchase the book. She's also here, so if you want her to sign the book, she's more than happy to do that. So so with great joy that I introduce her, and then I'm going to let her continue to share who she is and what she's all about.
Good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here with all of you. Really great this morning. Let me thank your Unity of Richmond, Reverend Valerie, who's not here, for inviting me to come here and speak today, and anyone else that's involved in bringing me over here today. Thank you so much. Well, as you know, I'm here to share an experience that I had personally several years ago toward attaining what we call realization of our divine essence we all have within each other, within us, and eventually uniting with that universal consciousness, who we call God, right? That's enlightenment. Now, for many, many years, I had done meditation, more than 20, 25 years, 20, 25 probably. Deep meditation eventually brought me to that unification, which I am grateful for today. And that's when I wrote the book, Home at Last, because that becomes our home. Once you attain that, that is your real home. What we are here in relative world, temporary, right? So every one of us will attain that. Actually, it's not about hearing, talking, or reading. It must be experienced directly by ourselves. That's when you attain that. It's nothing to do with, okay, I read scriptures, I read this, I read that. No, and listening to teachers, gurus, it's all good and dandy, but at the end of the day, it's you that make the effort to make sure you experience that divine journey, to reach Him and to connect back with Him. That's the most important thing to remember. And it's not a property of one, it's for every one of us, everyone. That's the reason I do these talks, actually, because one day you may be the one that's going through the process and you want to know what's it all about. Some people go, ooh, what is all this? I don't feel good, I don't do this. And some go crazy, you know? So it's better to understand what that inner journey really entails, which helps all of us, you know? It's not something that happens, like I said, to one individual, special for everybody. When it is your time, it is not when you want it, when it is divine decides, okay, this one is ready to get back to me, to connect back to me. That type of a thing goes on, and something will start unfolding within you at that time, taking you in a different direction than normal routine we do in this life, so-called, with all the laundry that gets thrown at us, you know? So eventually that'll happen to each one of you. So remember that as well. And a couple other just few facts before I tell you how that journey went with me. It has nothing to do with religion, gender, or race, by the way. A lot of people, when I say offer my talks to Buddhist people, and they say, no, we're Buddhist people. We only listen to that and we only read those books. Nothing to do with the religion, nothing to do with any particular guru, or what you do for living, for anything. Like a housewife can get enlightened tomorrow. It doesn't matter, So that's another thing we need to remember. And it is something else is that don't think it is something happens 1, 2, 3, I'm there, and cloud 9, oh, all nice and dandy, it's just beautiful. No, it's not that way, believe me. I want to tell you the facts as they are. Good, but also there are negative aspects of the process that we go through, because it's a totally a different type of a journey we will go through inside. And that entails a lot of work, a lot of time. For some people, the whole life it takes for that journey to finish, It all depends on individuals, if they're ready or not, and how well they kept their so-called this instrument body, the instrument, you have to keep a healthy body. A healthy body can take you that way, but not a sick body. You need to take good care of the body. That's most important. And when it's your time, then it'll happen. It is, like I said, not, quick thing. It took me 9 years, practically, 8 to 9 years. And I kept waiting and waiting and waiting. When is it? And I used to pray God in the night, or when I'm in the deep meditation, I used to say, when are you taking me to your place? Please bring me to you right away. I talked. I used to, when I am in that stillness and that quietude, perfect quietude, you can speak, and he listens. And I used to have a lot of issues, which I'll go over a couple of them now. I can't cover everything, so get a copy of the book. You'll get the details. And the thing is, it is, sorry to say, it's a messy, destructive process, okay? It is not something pleasant, believe me. And it undergoes unfoldment of 3 different stages, okay? It is a sequential unfoldment of 3 stages. The main ones being awakening, which is the door opener. Without that, nothing happens, okay? Number 2, self-realization, the divine. You have to connect back to the divine that's within each one of us, which we have forgotten and shoved aside and developed this thing called ego. That part of the domain of consciousness has become egoic way of thinking, egoic way of dealing with life, in this relative world. That gotta go. That has to be dispersed. That has to be steps aside. So ego should work for divine, not you getting worked by ego. It's the other way around. It's a shift that takes place in the next one. Self-realization. The third one, of course, called enlightenment, the unification with the totality, which is the divine essence, right? I mean, the unification, and it's like soul finally decides to go back to the source that she comes from. Our life force reaches and connects back to the divine essence. That's the third. Before you do all that, like I said, all that works perfectly aligned, and your all these energy fields are perfectly balanced and moving forward and takes you that way. There's a lot of work on your part. We all are evolved beings. Human being is an evolved being with this impeccable neurophysiology we have within, with all the processes going on, and also with all the chemical transformations going on, allows us to transcend than any other life out there. Birds can't, trees, nature, this, that, animals. No one can except the human being. You know that. We are the highest evolved beings, and we should take advantage of going back to divine and connecting back. That's the purpose of life. Otherwise, why are we here? Did you think of that? What is this purpose, this temporary comings and goings and comings and going? You know how many lives we lead continuously? We don't even know. I don't even know how many I have led before I got to this point. We never know. So we got to stop that. With all this, when you get enlightened, the cycle of repetition stops. That's the best part. That's the positive aspect of this whole thing, right? It's no more births, no more coming back, no more reincarnation. I call it this compelled imprisonment of reincarnation. That's what I call it. Will not be enforced anymore. That is the greatest positive thing in my book. You know, I think I don't want to come back here anymore. You know, once you know, and it's a steadfast understanding of why we're here, the temporary living of in this relative world, you don't want to repeat coming back to the same old thing, going through the old age. My God. No, no, no. That's enough. That's what I said. People that don't realize that will think, well, I'm perfect here. I'm going to keep going. I'm happy. You know, I'm the leader of this. I'm the president of this. That's all ego talking, all right? The real true nature is not going to talk that way. Real true nature will take you to divine back. Remember that. So this is what happened to me one day. I am just like everybody else. I have a family. I have 2 kids, a husband. And I wasn't a spiritual person, so-called, when I was growing up, way into my adult life. I don't even know what enlightenment, the term enlightenment was. And then until way back, way later on, at one point my husband had a heart attack very early in his life. 40s to have a heart attack. I was devastated, you know, and what's going on, you know, all of a sudden. Well, he was a go-getter. He's a how do you say that, typical type 1 personality type of man, you know, he's not like me. So he's always work, and this and that, and some reason, you know, his heart was gone. And that's when I said to myself, there got to be something else more than, you know, treating and having bypass and this and that. I learned Reiki. You all know what Reiki is, right? It's the healings from the cosmic energy you absorb, and you pass that energy to the whatever, it heals you. And I loved it. That interestingly took me to meditation. All of a sudden I was meditating and I loved it. And a lot of people have trouble with meditation and I didn't. Why is that? In my previous life, I was a great meditator. I was told by my teacher that I had resonated with. Her name was Ama Karunamayi. It's in the book, okay? I had kind of connected with her way later after I started meditating and getting deeper and deeper into it. And at the third quarter of my totality of reaching divine, I met her. And she told me then, you know, you were a great meditator in the last life. You accomplished that task in this life. I was stunned, surprised to hear her say that. Anyway, that's what happens. Whatever we do in this life, we pass it on in your next life. We'll continue on, you know. If you're a great person, if you're doing right things, righteous living, you'll go faster. Your positive column, increase it. Negative column, lowers it. That's the best way to live, right? And that's what happened, and I learned meditation. I was meditating for a while. All of a sudden, this is the strangest thing happened to me. I was working in a pharmaceutical company. I was very good at it, and I was working for Johnson & Johnson for a long time. You know, I was not sitting around either. And then all of a sudden there's this shift in perception took place within me. Now what do I mean by that? There's this strange disinclination toward life in general. You know, I said, why am I here? What's this all about? Why am I working? I mean, why am I go home, make dinner, clean dishes, do this, all the laundry of the routine that we need to do to live. And none of the things kind of made any sense to me. I was totally out. totally didn't want to do anything. It's almost like a depression, but it's not. It's a search towards something I wanted to find out. There's some drive within me and a thirst going around. I wanted to find out, what is it that something is knocking within me? Go this direction, go do this. Everything was being given to me, told within me. And all of a sudden, I resigned my job, spent more and more hours in meditating as I was good at it. And I didn't have thoughts bothering me, disturbances coming as much as they should in normal way. With no teacher, no trainer, I had developed that meditation by myself. I was stunned myself, actually. What in the world? I never did meditation. And when I was growing up, all of a sudden, worked out very nicely. There's got to be a reason for that. When one is ready, divine helps you. Everything, all the insights will come to you, all the things, what you need to do, what direction you have to move, everything is told. And that's exactly what was happening to me. So I was going through and my kundalini energy awakened. I think you all know what inner energy is, right? When the first one I was talking about, door opener. When your inner energy called kundalini, they call it, Easterners call it that opens up. And that has to and must open. Because we all live with such a small amount of vital force, life force, to do our regular routine jobs, whatever, eat, watch TV, sleep, eat, blah, blah, blah. That routine we do every day, right? But to go home, to go connect back to the source you come from, for that soul or divine essence, the individualized divinity that's within each one of us, must move. For that, we need that much of energy. It's almost like a 20-watt bulb and a 200-watt bulb or 300. Whole body will get messed up. Whole systems get goofed up. That's what happened to me. I couldn't eat. I couldn't sleep. Everything is vibrating within me. I can feel it. So something is going wrong. I thought I was fighting life and death within me. Yet I didn't tell anybody because nobody would understand me. They would send me in hospital saying I'm depressed. I'm going through some nonsense, Who would understand all this except the one that's going through? I knew there's something going on. I knew there's something I have to do. I have to keep meditating. That's the only solution I found. Meditate as much as possible. Divine will subside all the problems. The heat generated, as if I have a temperature of 105, constantly hot. My fingers are hot, hands are hot, giving out energy, hot within my feet, coming out heat. And a lot of times that heat and that energy can cure other people. That's how much that inner energy has benefits. That's how much energy you have within you once the kundalini gets awakened, which is the greatest thing. But there's a lot of suffering as well. During that process, there's a lot of suffering. I went through that for a while. And what else? Kept going, meditation, at least some of them is subside. And then later what happened was I was meditating some more years after that, putting up with all this nonsense and then not able to sleep. I would wake up in the middle of the night, walk around to subside my heat, trying to see what I can do to myself to normalize my system. I would eat anything, I would throw up. And I was a non-veg, I would eat everything, right, way back. All of a sudden, the meat takes longer time to digest, by the way. And so you need to stick with simpler food that will digest. So the energy is being used and utilized properly to take you and connect back. So you have to change your way of eating a lot, So I realized all these things and I would change my way of eating, do exercise a lot. Without exercise, without sleeping properly, nothing works. The body gotta be fine. It has to work properly. All the energy fields have to be balanced perfectly within you. And it has to make sure the energy is moving with all 7 main chakras, the energy centers, right? You know what chakras are. Subtle energy centers that are within us. The main ones are 7. So all those things are happening while I was doing that. That took a while. And what else? After that, some more years, kept going, meditating only, and I gave up my job. I told you 1 or 2 hours meditating each day. Morning, I wouldn't get up without meditation. I won't sleep without meditation. And in between, if I meditated, I meditated. Everybody was wondering. My whole family is a mess because they think I'm not paying attention. There's a lot of issues coming about in the family setting. You have to sort of make it them understand. Fortunately, I had a great husband that would understand. He read a lot, but he's not a practitioner like me, so his time is not there yet. So he's not like me, where his eagerness was on, moving into a different direction. But he understands that I'm going through that stage of process, internal journey. Inner journey. So he lets me meditate whenever I can. And I would finish everything before, of course. Nobody points fingers at me that I wasn't doing this, or dinners and this. I would do everything in the house, finish everything, and then I would go meditate. It doesn't matter to me how long, until 2 o'clock in the morning or whatever, And in the morning I would get up. I wouldn't eat breakfast. I would meditate first, and then I would. Things like that I started doing. And finally, there's something else happened after that. Stage number 2, self-realization. First, you have to tap into and realize your divine essence. Like I told you, it was kind of like shoved out, pushed down, and we were following the ego to do everything. Without ego, we wouldn't be happy. Without ego, we're not moving forward. So ego dictates us what we do, what we get pleasure out of, anything we have fun, or anything we think it's giving us happiness is due to ego, actually. You may or may not realize that, but that's what it is, right? So that has to step down. Next time was like ego has to dissolve, eventually. And that's what happens, the self-realization. When you try to reach more and more your divine essence, ego steps out and takes over. The true nature takes over your life. And what's a signpost for that? Bright illumination, excellent illumination. All of a sudden you're meditating, all you see is as if the big sunshine, whole body and whole mind and everything. When you're focusing and meditating, you see is light everywhere. Light, no darkness, no nothing, no confusion. It's in that stillness and quietude you see light. That's a very good plus sign that you have connected and realized your divine essence within you. Remember that. That's a good sign. I used to think, wow, what is this? What's going on when I was meditating? What is this? What is this? And the heat, that heat generates so much, but it's a comfortable heat. It's like, I can't explain. It's that stillness, that quietude, and the connection, as if, it's a big aha moment. You are now connected with me. I will take care of you, type of thing. It's telling you, From that point on, we're listening to our true nature with all the good qualities, with all the positiveness to lead in this relative world. That's what the second stage, self-realization part, took care of me. That, of course, took many years to meditate to get to that point before I, like I said, it took almost 9 years before the final thing I had to go through. And later on, I kept meditating. I was so eager. Is this the end? Is this not end? Is there more? All these questions start coming in my head, And then there is this term called, how do you say that? Samadhi state, right? Meaning that perfect stillness, perfect quietude, that you pass through many levels of that, many stages when you're going through this and connecting back to your divine essence, or your true nature within first. And then you'll think, oh, I'm done now, I'm done. I'm enlightened. No, you're not quite enlightened yet. The soul, divine essence within you did not move to your top of your head, 7th and 8th opening of your chakra, would be opening up. Then it's a different feeling, which I'm going to get to in a minute. That must take place. So it's not quite done. So I knew somehow I'm not there yet. So I kept meditating, increasing my hours of meditation. All I wanted to do was meditate, which is not possible, but whenever I could, I did a lot of times, with all these issues on the side going on, with all working in the house and taking care of my kids were grown and they were in the college, so it's just me and my husband. He used to travel a lot for his work, and I used to take advantage of that and stay home and meditate a lot, so I don't have to cook, or nobody's there to watch me or waiting for me or anything like that. There's a lot of issues you have to adjust while you're in this path, if you're married and if you're not single. It doesn't mean you have to go up in the caves and Himalayas either, by the way. Anybody can get self-realization, enlightenment, just where you are. And never give up what you're given, the responsibilities, by the way. That's most important, I have realized when I was going through. You don't ignore anything. You don't ignore your family members or kith and kin, whatever. Let's say you're taking care of parents or what have you. You shouldn't ignore them. Take care of what's in your plate first, and then continue with your journey. That's the best way. If you do not, it doesn't make sense. God is not going to bring you to him. So this is selfish. She wants to come to me, but she's ignoring all these and causing problems for the family. That's the type of mentality, So you gotta do everything for everybody. I never ignored anybody. My kids' needs and everything, I took care of them. Even they're grown up, they're always calling you and doing this, doing that, coming and visiting you, stuff like that. And of course, your husband is a full load work, right, all the time. And so so I took care of, I make sure he's okay, his dinner was ready, and we ate dinner. And if I didn't eat, I didn't feel like eating at all a lot of times. By the way, when the energy is too much within you, you don't feel like eating. That sustains itself, actually. The energy within you, it doesn't need outside food so much. My meals were reduced. My eating was reduced. And my husband couldn't understand that. He was bug me. What in the world are you doing? You're not even eating today again? What's the problem with you? You're going to go see a doctor. Things like that. I said, no, I'll eat. So just to satisfy him, you have to act, pretend, and somehow do it. That's what I used to do. Somehow I just sort of, eat. All right, fine. Let's just eat dinner. My God, you don't know, there's a lot of issues that I had to go through in the family setting. Anyways, that's not the most important. The final stage now, I'm going to tell you. Final stage, one day, I would do all my meditations outdoors. Outdoor has beautiful cosmic energy that nature has, and universal consciousness, so much that you absorb. Always do, if you can, take walks in nature, in the lush of greenery, or anything that will uplift you tremendously, Itself is good enough, actually, when you're meditating. It'll take you to the deepest quietude. I always did my meditations outdoors by the tree, which I'm so fond of. I used to sit underneath the tree and meditate a lot. And then, boys, I'm running late, so I'm going to hurry up. So one day, what happened, I was sitting there, and it was so hot and muggy. All of a sudden, I was nice and cool, as if something was telling me, you're going to be fine, just stay here. And then I went to this deepest quietude. I don't even know how to explain. Then normal meditation. Deepest quietude and silence. That stillness, I can't explain enough. That I was not aware of any outer world, and I wasn't aware of where my body was. No body consciousness. No, I don't know. I didn't feel my hands. I didn't feel like I have this body. I'm sitting underneath the tree. I have nothing of that nature. I was in that tremendous amount of perfect unification of nothingness. I reached that finest fabric of consciousness, what we call divine consciousness, universal consciousness. I mean, I was there, but then I said, all of a sudden I felt like, oh, I knew where I was. I knew I was connected. The intelligence was there telling me you are with divine. That perfect unification of nothingness, some people call it void, primordial energy, where all the, life springs from and eventually goes back into. I called it that. So we're nothing but energy, really. We're all this, we think we're this body, we're this, we're that, but we're really consciousness. We're really, this whole system is made of energy. And that whole energy went, connected back with that supreme consciousness, where there is no subjectivity, there's no objectivity, there's no measurement, that pure expansion. There's no ending, there is no beginning. Expansion of consciousness, moving, just that, and you became part of that. That's how I felt. It is so perfect, you don't want to come back. And some people give up their bodies at that point. They don't want to come back to their physical anymore. They just want to stay there. That's how beautiful it was. And I called it, I don't know, you get with that, staying there, God only knows I was there for 2 hours, maybe even more, in that perfect consciousness. And then I felt, well, gee, what is all this, I didn't feel like coming back. But you had to. Eventually, you divine, if there's something pending to do for an individual, that consciousness will come back to the body. Because you got to continue. You're spending things to be finished still yet. So it'll come back. So I was there for a long time. Well, it's like amazing. I can't explain enough. You have to experience it to yourself, It is almost like perfect place to stay, and you don't have to be bothered with anything. It was like extreme peace. What that peace is like, finest frequency, the extreme heavy frequency of vibration. Actually, what we call peace is the heightened vibrational frequency, That's everything is vibrating continuously. The whole body you can feel vibrating, and mostly on your top of your head chakra, opening up and destroying all the negativity you have accumulated over the years and years and years. That has to go. So after that, you don't even feel like you have any past pending. There is no future. You don't plan on that. You live moment to moment in perfect scenario. Came back, I finally came back, I finally opened my eyes, I fell down. It was like consciousness has not taken back all the organs of cognition yet. So it takes time, few minutes. I woke up and I found my hands. Where am I? I was totally lost. And it took another 40 minutes for me to get back to sitting down again position and realizing I was gone. And I was gone, and I didn't want to come back here again. When I go back in the house or do my routine, nothing made sense. With all these things, why am I back? What am I doing here? I don't want to come back. I want to stay there. That's my home. That becomes your home, and this becomes your laundry. This becomes your job. I'm sorry. And it's like you have to come back and get back. And it took me years to get adjusted to that. Even today, I feel, what is there pending thing for me to do? There's a reason why I'm here, perhaps, to help out to society, to do other things to people that are not there yet. That's what I do now anyway. I do a lot of charity work. I move around different countries, Africa, India. I help out. I belong to organizations where I can make a difference. It's not about you any longer. It's about what is it that you could do to others, while you're still living here. And that becomes a priority. And that's exactly how I am. But still you're depressed, you're down at times, you don't want to stay here anymore. This becomes like a nuisance to stay. But eventually, year after year, I get better and better in adjusting myself. Even today, I'm not that. And attachment goes, desires go, likes and dislikes go. Everything is gone. Tell me, how are you going to live? But you will. You will live perfectly with your true nature guiding you within you, not ego driving you. Ego gets down the dumps. I mean, it's still there. It works for God, in other words. It doesn't run the life for you any longer. It is a servant for divine. So whenever you want, it's there, but otherwise, you don't listen to the ego. That's how it was. Beautiful. But, you have to continue to meditate afterwards, by the way. Why is that? Because you have to embody the whole thing that you have realized fully, so you be okay in moving around in this relative world. Otherwise, very uncomfortable. It's like, you're mixed up, you're down, the dumps come sometimes, you're crying, and you're not yourself. It's confusing to live like that. So you have to continuously meditate. It took me another 2 years, whatever, to adjust myself and embody that consciousness throughout your body, so that you are with this new energy, new consciousness you're living with. And that's the most important. You have to, if you don't embody, it's not good. You can't, live properly any longer. And that's exactly what happened. Sorry about that. I think it's getting time. And that's what we do, and that's exactly what happened. And meditation is the route, the direct and fastest route, by the way, the meditation, among with the rest of the practices people do. It's okay, but they take longer to get to your destination. And I'm sure there are so many types of meditations people do, right? And so many ways to get to your destination. But stick with meditation, even if it's a little bit difficult at the beginning. It is difficult, but practice, devotion, intent, want to find out the truth, will take you there, no matter what, eventually. So that's my story in a nutshell. But there are a lot of details I skipped out, which is in the book. So you'll get that more information and more knowledge of what I went through, a lot more than what I have spoken here. Let's do some meditation now, and together. My meditation is, I'll tell you just briefly, it's all about focus and concentration and one point object in between your two eyebrows, which is, like they call it, exactly, I call it Agna Chakra. That's the way it resides, the command center, conscious center, where the thoughts are subsided, much faster than normal things, other meditations. If you focus there continuously, it's like a lamp or a photo of your choice, whatever you have, an object of concentration you have to take and meditate. And that nobody taught me. I taught myself that. It came to me as if because I was used to doing that perhaps, and that's how I did it. I focus, and all of a sudden my consciousness would go directly there, nowhere else, so which is a perfect. And let's do that way this time, see if you like it. If you're not, you go ahead and stay with what you do, and that's okay also. So we'll take deep breath 3 times first, and then slowly close our eyes and focus on that center of your 2 eyebrows. That's when we will. And don't get disturbed by the thoughts, and ignore the thoughts. Even they come, it doesn't matter. Bring back your attention to that center, to the Agna Chakra, okay? So take deep breaths, please, everybody, 3 times. Close your eyes gently. Bring your attention to that object that you have created yourself. Probably a lamp or a photo, whatever you choose. And stay there. Concentrate on the third eye area only, nowhere else. Just focus, but not force. Focus without force. Don't let the thoughts disturb you. Always just stay concentration in that object. Okay, slowly open your eyes gently and take 3 times deep breath again. When you're meditating, just one more thing, keep your spine straight. I forgot to tell you, that's very important for the energy to ascend always upwards. Thank you so much.